guys, welcome back to Bookmas. I'm excited because finally I can give you guys my what I read in November. I have been waiting for this for so long. It's been like taking everything in me not to upload this video before my Bookmas Vlogmas situation goes on. But I thought I'd just include it during Vlogmas, during Bookmas, because you know what? This is the week that I've decided to post. So I had to just hold out. But this is the video that I'm just so excited to film because wrap-ups are my favorite. And I had a pretty good month. If you don't remember, at the beginning of November, I did my blind picking TBR. So I tried to stick to that. I think I picked about... I actually don't know how many books I picked. 7. And then I said I had other books for videos to film, which I read those, and then I stuck to my TBR kind of until the very end of November. But I'm really proud of myself. That's the first time I've read like majority of my actual TBR that I've set for myself. So pat on the back for me. That was really good. I've actually just never done that. I always make a TBR and then I just like go off the rails because I'm a mood reader, but I did like really good. I don't know how many I read. 10 books. One was on my Kindle. Majority of them are in videos, so if you haven't seen the reading vlogs of these, or if you have seen the reading vlogs of these, it's gonna be a little repetitive, but I'm gonna give more opinions, more thoughts, and whatnot. So to start off the month, we have my reading sad books. So I have those books first. If You Have Been With Me by Laura Nolan. I can't express how much this has impacted me. I still think about this book to this day. We are now more into December and I think about Finn every single day. This is a YA book. It's about, Anyway, okay, before I cry over this book again. This is about Finn and Autumn. They are childhood, like, best friends. Family friends. Their moms are best friends. They live next door to each other. They call each other's moms, like, aunt, whatever. So they're very close growing up. They are just, you know, that like soulmate connection when you're growing up. Like those two are just very connected. As they're growing up, they kind of go separate ways a little bit. They have different friend groups. They have different interests, different personalities a little bit more throughout like high school and stuff. But they still see each other and still hang out and still care for each other because their family friends are next door to each other. Their moms have like nightly dinner nights together. Like it's like that. But I liked the way this was told because you get in Autumn's point of view. The start of the book, you get how it ends. You get that there's something that happens to Finn at the end. Like you get the inevitable, the tragic love story, the tragedy at the end, so it's not like a surprise ending. What was great is how connected I was throughout the book, but you get the timeline of her and them kind of not being so close together anymore, but then you get kind of memories that she'll bring up of how connected and how close they were when they were younger, so it's not like a different point of view, a different timelines, but you just get them and them not being friends and her new friend group, her new relationships, his new relationships, like both of that. But it's really, really good. I highly recommend this. I gave this 5 stars. I'm obsessed with this book and this story. It's not a lighthearted romance, but it is like a soulmate connection, a second chance, and just like that love is pain, basically. I will love Finn until the day I die. I highly recommend this if you haven't read this already. I literally can't stop thinking about it. The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros. I saw this on TikTok a bunch of times, but this was also, as I said, in my sad books video. This is actually a really interesting storyline, which I was really intrigued by. Basically, you get 2 timelines. The first one is present day. It's about Georgia, and her great-grandmother was a famous romance author. She passes away, and then this guy, Noah, he is an author that was chosen to finish out the grandma's book, and they want to make it a tragic ending, make it the love story of the great-grandmother, because she had this incredible love story type thing. Georgia is very protective over it. She does not want him to do it, and they have to kind of work together in that way. So you get the present time them, enemies, but also having to be like a forced proximity to work together and figure out what to do to honor her great-grandmother. But then you get the timeline of the great-grandmother and her love story and what they're trying to write about. And it takes place, her timeline in World War II era, her meeting him and her and her sister, and like that whole story, how they met. He's a World War II pilot, but you know that their ending isn't happy. So Georgia wants to make the romance book, the novel, exactly how it turned out, but then there's like little things that come light because there's letters that she finds from the great-grandmother and her true love back in the day and what they wrote to each other, and that's how kind of they get the story. Really interesting storyline. I personally just didn't connect to the past timeline. I don't know why. I wasn't really interested in reading about it too much. I liked the present romance, present love story more, and I think that's just a personal opinion. Historical romances for me aren't, I don't know, I don't love them. But the storyline was incredible, so if you don't care about timelines or anything like that, or a historical part of the book, like definitely check this out. I saw this as so many people's like favorite book. And it's really interesting, it's really cool. It's kind of long, I feel like. I don't know, I was kind of just a little bit bored, but it was really good. Really cool way to write the love story between 2 timelines and 2 generations in the family. Like it was really, really interesting. But I gave it 3 out of 5. Wasn't a fave of mine. Before we continue with what I read in November, I want to thank today's sponsor, which is Upside. If you have been on my channel before, you guys know what Upside is. It's this app that you guys can download for free. Literally everything is so expensive now, so Upside helps offset the inflated prices by giving you cash back on purchases. I personally have been using this app for gas stations, mostly because gas prices, why are they so high? But I will claim an offer on there. You get some percent back, get some cash back, and the more you spend on the app, you get money back. So like buying coffees every day, getting your nails, and like everything adds up. So getting cash back is really, really helpful. I'm going to the city soon, and I was looking on there at places, and I saw that Baked by Melissa, you get cash back there, and I'm gonna get some cupcakes when I go this weekend. So it's gonna be really fun. It's so easy to use. You literally could just type in where you are, and it shows you places near you that you could get cash back from or get percents back, and you could just get money added to your account. Basically, I don't have to cut back now, like I said, on the coffees and the nails and stuff, because I'm getting this cash back and I could use it on that stuff. You know, I get like the $5, I could use it on my coffee every day. It's so helpful, and it just like, it balances it all out. So to get started, you can download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play, and you guys can use my promo code Karoli to get $5 or more cash back on your first purchase of $10 or more. What you're gonna do when you do that, you can then claim an offer on Upside on whatever you're buying. You check in at the business, use your debit, your credit card, whatever you're paying with, and then you get paid. And in comparison to credit card rewards or loyalty programs, you can earn 3 times more cash back on Upside. And the best part is you can cash out at any time to your bank account, PayPal, you can get e-gift cards like Amazon or something, which is really cool. If this interests you, if you want to save some money, get some cash back, promo code is in the description. All of the information is down there, so definitely check it out. Try out the app. It's free to download. Highly recommend. I love this app. Back into the video. All the bright places. I still have the Target sticker on here. That's so embarrassing. It's like sticky underneath. That's why I don't want to take it off. Anyway, this is by Jennifer Niven. If you watched my video, I said I was going to watch the show / movie after. I still have not done that. I'm so bad with catching up on like shows and movies. I just don't do it. I don't know why. This is a YA romance literary type book. This is about Violet and Finch. Violet was always known as like this girl who was counting down days to graduation, full of life, looking forward to the future, and then something happens to her where she is just like no longer wants to be part of her friend group. She's just kind of in this space where she's no longer interested in what she used to be interested in. And then you have Finch, who is just been fascinated by death. He is not in the right headspace. He has internal issues that he goes through, and you see both of their point of views, and that's what I loved about this book, just seeing how they both deal with what's going on in their lives, and like seeing Finch from Violet's perspective and then getting his point of view. Like, you don't realize with the way he's acting on the outside, then you get his point of view on the inside, and it's just like, I absolutely loved the point of views in this book. I loved how it just felt realistic. This one was very, very sad. I gave this 4 to 5 stars. You basically get them kind of connecting throughout the whole book, and they're put on a project together during school, something around their state of Indiana, so they kind of have little missions, journeys to go on. I'm not really sure what they call it, but they have to go different spots in Indiana, so they're kind of like forced to hang out with each other a little bit. He kind of picks Violet to be his partner. He's fascinated by Violet, but then you get them connecting because they have a little bit more in common than you would think, and I really enjoyed this. I really, really, really did. I need to still watch the movie / show. Don't even know. A Netflix film. I gotta get on that, but I do highly recommend this book, but look up trigger warnings for sure, but I did like it. Pack Up the Moon by Kristen Higgins. I was prepared to sob my eyes out with this book from what I've seen on Instagram mostly, and I did. If you want to see me cry to this book, it's in the video. I gave this 2 stars. Let me tell you what this is about. Josh and Lauren, they are newlyweds kind of, and you get the timeline point of views of Josh present time, and then you get Lauren her point of views, but like in a backwards timeline. Very interesting way it was written, which I liked that part. Basically, Lauren has this terminal condition where it's like everyone knows that she's gonna die. It's just like the inevitable, so they're kind of just preparing for that. But the way it's told her point of view backwards is really interesting, because you get when she's severely sick, and then a few chapters later we'll get where she's like not as sick, but she like is told that she had the illness. Then you go a few chapters later, it's further in the past where she feels a little sick, doesn't think it's anything, you know, she just thinks it's like something not too serious, and it's like so interesting seeing it in the timeline going backwards. It's really sad, it's really heartbreaking, but that I liked. Present day Joshua was so, I hated reading his point of view and what was happening with him. It was interesting because Lauren left letters for him because she obviously knew she was going to die, so she wanted to help him with his grief process. She knew he was not going to be really interested in continuing because they loved each other so much, so she kind of helped him get back on his feet. The writing of his point of view was just so painfully boring. It just wouldn't get to the point. It could have been so much more concise, you know, like nothing was really interesting except the letter she sent to him, and then he just bored me. That's really it. I didn't really like his point of view. It was like majority of the book was like him. I absolutely loved the way the storyline and like the timelines went, but I just like couldn't. And there's just one chapter in here that made me sob, and you can probably figure out which one it was just by knowing the summary of this book. But other than that chapter, like I didn't feel anything for this book, and if that chapter happened in literally any book, I would cry. Like it's a sad thing that happened, so didn't like this. Don't recommend. if you want me to be honest. And I felt very validated because I wrote that on my Goodreads, and like a lot of people were also agreeing with me because I thought I was the only one that didn't like this book. Those of you out there that agreed with me, thank you, because that made me feel better because I literally thought I was the only one that just could not get through this book. If it wasn't for the video that I filmed with it in, I honestly would have DNF'd it. Tell Me Lies. This is by Corolla Lovering, also in another video. This one I think I gave 4 out of 5. Mixed reviews on this book from everyone. I personally really enjoyed it, I think, because it's relatable. If you don't like toxic relationships or toxic characters or their point of views and manipulation, don't read it. Not for you. This is not a lovey-dovey story. It's not amazing book boyfriend and happily ever after. It's about finding yourself through college and going through the horrible occurrences that happen with the wrong people and the wrong boys and the wrong crowd. So basically, this is about Lucy. She goes away to college far from home because something happened with her mother. She meets friends at college. She meets Steven, who's a junior. You get both of their point of views. And first, Lucy, just going away to college was very hard for her, like just comparing herself to everyone and just not having anyone to really guide her. So she had a pretty rough time, and she's not a victim in any of this, honestly. I feel like they both have stuff to own up, but then you get Steven's point of view, and he's just a horrible manipulator, narcissist, sociopath, and he just has no empathy for literally anyone or anything except himself. So he and Lucy get together on and off. They kind of can't figure their stuff out, and Lucy always goes back to him. Steven knows that she will, so he kind of just keeps her stringing along. And it's basically that. It's definitely character driven. It's kind of just their lives through college and after college as well. And then you get that whole timeline. That was in the past. That was in like 2007, I think. And then you get present time, and one of their college friends is getting married. But you get them meeting in their whole timeline, and then at the end, you get them seeing each other again. And it's just not a lovey-dovey story in any way. But it was very interesting for me to see their point of views and just how they thought about each other, what they did, and like everything play out. And like I said, it was kind of relatable. I feel like majority of people, maybe not majority, most people I feel like have met people like this and have been through situations like this, me included, and I think that's why I connected with it so hard. I think that's why I enjoyed it so much. Some quotes in here that just really, they hit home, you know? And I watched the show. The show is not like the book, so read the book first, because the show storyline is just like not the same. There's different characters. They took out a character. It was just like, why did they do that? I don't know. It's still a good show, but why would they change so much from the book? I don't know. Then I read Daisy Jones and the Six. Don't want to say I was bullied into reading this. It was not a bullying situation. I was peer pressured, not from other people, honestly. I think I peer pressured myself into this. As you guys know, I was not a big Taylor Jenkins Reid fan. I didn't like Seven Husbands. I didn't like One True Loves, and I was iffy about Malibu Rising. Don't come for me because I know everyone loves those books. Like, it was a personal opinion. These are personal opinions. I know everyone loves those books, so don't. I know. Okay, but I had this. Everyone and their mothers told me that I would love this book, and I was like, you guys are liars, but you guys know more about my taste than I do at this point. You guys know what I would like, I think, so I trusted you guys, and I read it and I gave it 5 stars. I'm obsessed. I'm so obsessed with this story, the way it was told and everything about it. And I felt, well, let me tell you about it first. It's about Daisy. She is on the up-and-coming stardom in LA in the late 60s, and I personally, like I said before, don't like anything like in any doesn't interest me too much, so off the bat, thought I was gonna hate it. I had the 1960s Taylor Jenkins Reid. I just don't like, you know. Anyway, her up and coming, and then you also get the up and coming band, the Six, and you get their like manager and then all the members and them getting together and her coming up in fame. But the best part is the way this is told is in an interviewer style. So it literally feels like the author is the interviewer asking every single one of these people, like they feel like real people, real interview questions, and they're kind of just giving the story back as if it was a real story back in the day of how they came about and their storyline and how they met and everything. I absolutely love watching interviews, like real life interviews, documentaries and stuff, so I just like ate it up. It was just funny because they felt like real people as I was reading. Like they felt like real rock stars giving answers and like reminiscing on their days as a band and what happened. And it was really interesting that, and then just seeing their story coming up and like becoming rock stars and like the most famous band ever. It was just so interesting. And I also listened to some of it on the audiobook because everyone said that that was the best. Highly recommend. I did back and forth, but the audiobook has different voice actors for each character in the book, and the way that they just like act out the voices sound like it's real interview. And I loved it so much. And then the ending, I loved how this ended. I'm so excited for the show. I am fingers and toes crossed they do this justice. I cannot wait to hear the songs, because reading songs in a book, you don't know how it should sound. So I'm so excited. I can't even, it's like unfathomable. And I put this on my Goodreads, and I gave it 5 stars, and you guys like ate that up. And I put stuff on my Goodreads, like my ratings and like sometimes a review, not many times, but like sometimes. When you guys comment on that, like I sit there and I read it and I just like smile and I get giddy. You guys were so excited that I finally read this. I was laughing because some of you were like, I knew you. You were gonna like this. Finally, she read it and all this stuff. And I literally was like dying laughing because this has been a favorite of so many people's and I look so dumb. Every single video this was in, I was like, not happening. Don't look at it. But now it's one of my favorite books like of all time. Funny how that worked out. I don't know if this has redeemed Taylor Jenkins Reid for me. People are saying to read Carrie Soto's back, but I think I need like a break now. Like I've done enough, you know? And then I read The One by John Mars. It was actually hyped up to me after I said I haven't seen many people reading it. A lot of people said it was really interesting. Short chapters, cool storyline, which totally agree. Basically, this is about a DNA test. You send in a DNA sample with scientific like knowledge and whatever science. It basically connects you with your soulmate based on like scientific reasoning. So if your soulmate hasn't thrown their DNA in, hasn't sent in their DNA, why would they sent in their DNA? You won't get a match. Once you get a match, you pay the $10 and you get connected with their contact info. But it caused a lot of issues with people because people were already in relationships when it happened and whatever. What was interesting about this is you get, I think like 6 maybe different stories and different people and their experience with the DNA testing and everything. All these stories were so different. So entertaining to see how this one DNA thing that's happening can affect so many different people in different ways. Like that was so interesting to me. Chapters were definitely short, but what I didn't like is how all 6 of these things, like they never connected. So you would read a chapter of like one person's story. It would end on a really big cliffhanger, which I always love, but then you have to wait like 5 different point of views to get back to it. Also wish that these people connected somehow, you know? I mean, it was cool seeing all their point of views and all of their stuff with the testing and stuff, but it was just the cliffhangers that made me so like anxious. I was like, why did I now have to wait all these different stories that also end on cliffhangers to get back to each one? Like it was just like, it was getting to me a little. I gave it 3 stars. I didn't connect to any of the characters, but it was entertaining. So if you want an entertaining story with a cool storyline, the ending's a little crazy, I'm not gonna lie, like how it all ends with all of these people, I do recommend. It was cool. I've never read a book like this. Those were the last ones for my TBR of the month. Now I started to mood read. I did these books for videos and now I just want to read a book that I want to read. Not that I didn't want to read those books, but like when I read for a video, it feels different than like just picking up a book. So I ended up reading one on my Kindle, which is not the typical book that I feel like I would pick up, but I downloaded it a while ago because I saw someone on Instagram like raving about this author called Gothicana. I think that's how you say it. And it was my first dip into a dark academia romance. And I ate it up. I actually really did enjoy it. It's nothing like I would picture myself liking and being interested in really. Maybe, I don't know, I just never tried it, but it intrigued me. Basically, this is about Violet. Is her name Violet? I think it's with Corvina. Where did I get Violet from? She got an invitation to this college university. She's 21, so she's a little older, but you have to get invited there to go because it's filled with a bunch of students who have troubled pasts. She ends up going. She meets her roommate, who is like her first ever friend because her mom had issues and all this stuff. So she finds a friend group and friends, and then her professor, his name is Vad, he's also a student there. So he's finishing like his thesis and stuff, but also just teaching on the side as part of the university. She's 21, I think he's 28. It's a little age gap. He's professor. It's like student teacher, but it wasn't in a weird way. It didn't feel wrong. You know what I mean? Like it felt okay. The thing with the school is there was disappearances in the past, like every few years, like students would disappear. There's like the little mystery you get and everything kind of connects. You get their like love kind of, I don't know, she can't really trust him at first, but then like, I don't know. And it's pretty dark. So I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I kind of liked that he was a little bit crazy and it was dark and he was very possessive, because it wasn't a possessive where it was like kind of uncomfortable to read about. It was more she enjoyed the possessiveness of it. So it was like, okay, if she likes it, then I might as well be okay with it. Usually I don't like possessive men in books. Sometimes I feel like it's too, they feel like they own it. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I think I want to read more dark academia type romances. I did download another one, but I don't know if it's a little too dark because I've seen some people say the trigger warnings are, there's a lot of them. So, but I did enjoy this one. I highly recommend if you want to try it. Definitely look up trigger warnings. I felt like it was very good with the season. Like the dark academia during this time just felt right. And I liked the setting. It was like a castle and it was like dark. I loved it. But I gave it 4 out of 5. I did enjoy it. Then after that, I read Ghosted by J.M. Darhauer. I filmed a winter book rex that's coming after this video. Yeah, I think it's after this. I didn't include this because I already filmed it, but read this. And you know what sold me before I even started this? Also, Destiny sent me this. I want to thank you, Destiny, from the bottom of my heart. I love this book. The best part about this is the book's dedication. I'm gonna read this out loud to you because this is literally the best dedication I've ever read. This book is dedicated to everyone who has ever loved a story so much they could quote it. There's nothing in the world quite like being part of a fandom. Never let anyone shame you for it. Read those books, watch those movies, binge those TV shows, love those characters, admire those celebrities, write that fan fiction, draw that fan art, go to those conventions, sing that on hiatus, totally not broken up boy band at the top of your lungs, do Do what makes you happy. And as soon as I read that, I knew I would love this book. I love this book so much. As you can tell, 5 stars. And the thing is, I don't know if I'm biased because this is a second chance romance, and just any second chance romance I love. This one hit so hard. It's a bit longer, but it's so worth it. Kennedy and Jonathan, they went to the same private high school and they met there. I think she was a new girl there her senior year or something, and she was kind of like shy and quiet, and he was part of like a politician family. Like, it's for richer families, but she ended up going there, and she was kind of like writing in her journal back in the day, and in the school she was always writing in her notebook. That was back in the day. They met there and they started dating and stuff. Something happened, they stopped. So now it's 6 years later in the future. He shows up at her doorstep drunk, trying to beg for her back, and she's like, until you like get clean, until you figure yourself out, you cannot come back to me. He ends up being an alcoholic. He ends up getting into the Hollywood fame. He's one of the most famous actors for a superhero movie. Like, he becomes this huge celebrity, and Kennedy is working in a grocery store trying to take care of her child and just like working paycheck to paycheck. So like I said, she has a child. I don't like children in books. This child made me want to have children, made me want to love children again. She's the cutest child ever. Her name is Madison, and I would do anything for her. She is so cute. It was just done so right. Usually they're so annoying in books. This one, I couldn't imagine this book without her. But if you could guess, Madison is Jonathan and Kennedy's child from whatever back in the day. He just wants to be a good father. You get him coming back eventually, and something happens where he has to stay in the town again, so in the same place, and you just get him groveling. He wants to be a better father, a better boyfriend. He's so done with the Hollywood scene, and it's like you get that and all of that, his point of view and her point of view, but then you get the flashbacks to when they were younger. But the flashback when they were younger is the journal that Kennedy wrote in while they were in school, and the way she's writing, it's telling his story, and then up until whatever happened where she was done. One of the craziest part was that he becomes that crazy famous superhero movie. His name is Breezio, the superhero. In high school, her favorite comic was Breezio, and she was like obsessed with the comic. Introduced Jonathan to Breezio. Guess who plays Breezio in the superhero movies when they're older? And guess whose daughter loves watching those movies? Crazy. I also enjoyed, it starts out like their separate lives, her at the supermarket, him Hollywood, whatever, but you don't get too much of them apart, which I kind of don't like in books. I want them to connect early on. Like, I want them to start talking to each other and like figure it out in the beginning. Like, I don't want them too much apart because then it's like boring, but pretty early on they like get back, not together, but like they start like being in the same scenes, you know what I mean? So that was really nice. You don't have to like wait too long for that. It was just everything I could have asked for and more in a book. I love them so much. Just go read this, please. Oh my god, it was so good. Last but not least, I think a holiday reading vlog's coming out soon, and I just read this, so it's gonna be in that vlog. But this is The Holiday Switch by Tiff Marcello. It's just a cute little rom-com-y romance, short but sweet, gets you in the holiday spirit. I give this 4 stars. It's actually really, really sweet, really cute. But it's about Lila, who works at this inn. She works in like the gift shop of the inn, and it's where one of like the most famous Christmas movies took place. She lives in Holly, New York, and it's just like decked out in Christmas stuff. It's like the perfect place for Christmas. It's like the setting is perfect for the season. But then her boss hired her nephew Teddy. Lila doesn't like him, so they have this little co-work enemy situation going on, but then one day they swap phones by accident and they find out things about each other that no one else knows, so they have to keep secrets, and they like end up hanging out a little bit, and it's really cute. So if you want like a really sweet, straight to the point holiday rom-com book, highly recommend this. There's also a little life lesson that she learns at the end, which is really full circle. This is also not in my winter book recs because I just read this and I filmed that already, so if you want another winter book rec, highly recommend this. Short and sweet. These are all the books I read in November. I don't know if you read any of these, any of your opinion, as usual. I'm excited for December. I am mood reading the whole month. I am so excited to get to some books that I've been waiting to get to. It's gonna be really fun. I hope you're enjoying Bookmas. I can't wait to give you the rest of the videos that I've been filming. It's gonna be super, super fun. Stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you did. And I will see you hopefully tomorrow for the next day of Bookmas. Goodbye.